Hello odd ones, thank you for clicking back into the channel. My name is Z Solom, and we are continuing our adventure into Innsmouth to search for a missing little girl, who I have named Flapjack. Mostly because she resembles the character from the TV show from, what was it, like a decade ago? And I also have no idea what her name is. I don't know if they didn't tell me or if I have just completely forgot. But anyhow, let's get into it. Your journey begins at a busy bus station. There is supposed to be a bus line that departs from here to Innsmouth. Buses, you think to yourself, are not only an environmentally friendly means of transportation, they're also easy on your wallet. Sadly, the departure boards aren't of much help. New York, Maine, Rhode Island, no traces of Innsmouth as a destination. Well, yeah, those are all states, not cities. You wander around for a while until you notice a cleaner eating a sandwich on the side of one of the vending machines. You look around. Should we talk to the cleaner or continue searching on our own? You know, let's talk to the cleaner. I mean, why should we waste our time searching when this guy might know? I mean, he's walked around the building enough times for us to know if he was cleaning up the place, right? We talk to the cleaner. Excuse me, where can I find the bus to Inns? Without letting go of his sandwich, the cleaner points to an abandoned counter in the dingiest corner that a public bus station could be capable of. The man gives you a nod, indicating that anything that can be said has indeed been said. You find that the counter is elaborately decorated with cobwebs. It's a bit early for Halloween preparations, but at least someone's made an effort. At the moment, nobody seems to be there. You press your face against the plastic window to peer into the room behind. Hello? Hello? Is anyone there? I have to go to Innsmouth. No one there. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a bus ticket appears on the counter. Might the trip be free? I kinda hope so. We are in massive debt and we have a lot of in-app purchases that we need to pay off. Should you leave a payment? After saying that, maybe we should leave a donation, you know, for like good karma. You're a staunch defender of the law. It goes without saying that you pay. Yeah, that's what I was getting at. You put a few coins in the bowl underneath the foggy glass window. Hopefully they won't be stolen by the next passenger. Even if someone were sitting behind the counter, you wouldn't be able to see them. It's just too dark. You are distracted for a few seconds, and suddenly there's some change on the counter. What's that in amongst the coins? A small golden fishing hook? How strange. See? I told you guys that it would be good karma. We got a fishing hook. That has to be lucky, right? Lucky fishing hook to a fishing place? Yeah, obviously I chose the right decision. Now where's this bus hiding? In between the polished greyhounds and travelers stowing their luggage, saying goodbye and dropping tiredly into their seats, there's a kind of dumpster. A dumpster with windows and wheels? No, it's actually a bus. It's a bit on the rusty side, and even from a distance you sense the strange smell it emits. Is that sulfur? You're not convinced how this thing is supposed to drive. In its vicinity, everything is noticeably quieter than at the other bus stops. The people getting on show no sign of emotion. Nobody is trying to jump the queue here. Instead, the passengers move past the bus driver at a uniform speed, one after the other, shuffling up the creaking steps. Each two-seater bench is occupied by individuals, as if they want to make sure not to come into contact with their fellow passengers. The sign clearly says Innsmouth. No departure times, no stopovers, just Innsmouth. Undecided, you're standing on the stairs of the bus. Do I talk to the driver, show my ticket, or sneak past in silence? Whoa. Music took a little bit of a change. Let's talk to the driver. I mean, we want to learn more about why this bus smells like sulfur, right? Maybe he is also transporting fireworks? You stop. The passengers behind you wait patiently. It's impossible to make eye contact with the driver. He stares rigidly at his steering wheel. After all, he seems to be a focused driver. And where do focused drivers look? At the steering wheel. Excuse me, sir. No reaction. You look over your shoulder and still the people in line behind you remain calm. Wow, aren't they polite? Undecided, you're standing on the steps. Do I show my ticket or sneak past? Well, I guess I'll show my ticket. That's what you normally do at buses, right? You hand the driver the ticket. No reaction. At least, you can't make out a reaction. The lighting is poor and the shadow of his dusty driver's cap covers almost his entire face. You notice something strange on his neck, but you can't make out what it might be. You're standing in the door waiting for an okay, a nod, anything. The sulfur odor has increased. A queue has formed behind you, but no one is pushing or complaining. The people wait quietly and patiently. Do I get out of here, say something, or just keep walking? Let's say something. Let's see what happens. Is there something you want to tell the driver? Innsmouth? Actually, I always wanted to take dance lessons. Klatu, veratu, nektu. I don't know what the other one is, but let's tell him about our dreams for dance lessons. Actually, I always wanted to take dance lessons, you tell the bus driver thoughtfully. His motionless face doesn't tell you what he thinks. You may have wished for a bit more encouragement, but fine. You shuffle sideways through the center aisle. You don't remember the bus looking this long from the outside. You are surrounded by shabby two-seater benches, and some are already occupied. One traveler per row. The last bench is free. Looks like the upholstery is torn in some places though. Or has it been slit open? You can see springs with sharp wire edges, and some sticky liquid seems to have leaked onto the floor. Why didn't you just sit down in one of the free rows? Here in the back, almost everything is occupied. Most of the passengers seem to have purposely sat down in the aisle seats, blocking off the window seats. Maybe this is an opportunity to get a little closer to the common Innsmouth visitor? I think it is. Besides, that rear bench sounds like it would give us, like, tetanus. Let's sit down with someone. As a nonconformist, you join one of the passengers in a double seat. Since only one man was so considerate as to sit at the window, your options are limited anyway. As far as you can tell, the man is a haggard figure with barely any luggage. The hood of the gray jumper pulled far onto his face, the man looks out onto the street as if something very important is happening there that requires his attention. Is this seat taken? You ask politely. He turns his head and gives you a brief once-over. Oh. Looks like he has webbed fingers? Without saying a word, he turns away again. Sit down anyway or go to the rear bench? Well, that wasn't a no, right? I mean, most people ignore you on the bus, right? No one wants to talk to strangers. Alright, that wasn't a no either. You sit down and regret it instantly. The smell of sulfur is now overpowered by something else. Something that smells like it's been in the sun for too long. Oh, he's one of those that didn't bring any deodorant, huh? You're trying to catch a glimpse of what's under the hoodie. Does this person have a genetic defect? Is he malnourished? You're not sure exactly where the problem might be, but you're trying to stay professional. Well, we already noticed the fingers. I mean, maybe he was born with it and they just chose not to remove it? I don't know. It's none of our business. You awkwardly stare at the headrest of the person in front of you. Do I talk to the stranger or sit there in awkward silence? No, let's try to figure out more about where we're going and what's going on and who he is and how his day's going. I mean, everyone loves talking to strangers, right? This is a chance to get some information. That's exactly what I was saying. Do a small talk about veganism, look the passenger over, or play the tourist. Let's do a small talk about veganism. I mean, no one hates talking about veganism, right? I'm currently trying to live vegan. The renunciation of animal products detoxifies not only the body, but also the planet. Your neighbor turns to you and listens to your boring explanation. His pale green face has solidified into a mask. A mask of fascination, perhaps? It's hard to tell if you're boring him. Let's continue talking. He obviously wouldn't have turned and started paying attention to us if it wasn't for a topic. Some people just have to be taken by the hand during conversations. Yeah, I mean, come on. As someone that also doesn't like talking to strangers, if they continue talking, then I can just sit there and nod my head. You don't even have to do without the comforts of life, you go on, thanks to treats like sayatine pizza, roasted sprouts, tofu, pasta, and of course, cocoa avocado brownies. That sounds okay. The man seems to get paler with every second. He turns his gaze away from you and stares back at the good old headrest in front of him. He ignores all further attempts on your path to start a conversation for the rest of the journey. He's probably thinking about what you said. He's thinking about those cocoa avocado brownies, I bet. That didn't sound like too bad. I wish we could have asked him about flapjack, though. The bus leaves the country road and turns off at a wooden sign that says Innsmouth in red flaky letters. The journey continues rather bumpily along a narrow dirt road littered with numerous potholes. In the distance, some houses are already visible, seagulls circling the roofs of the outermost edge of the city. Slowly, all the passengers take their bags out from under the seats and get ready. Curiously, you look through the front window or the side window. Let's look at the side window. That's odd. The bus passes by a huge, what is this, a scrapyard? Parking lot? Why would something like this be here, right outside the city? You pass another wooden sign whose half-peeled writing advertises the Innsmouth Park and Ride area. A lot of cars look like they've been sitting there for years. Sand covers some of the bonnets and windscreens. So, people come but never leave? The front door of the bus opens with a squeak, and you join the monotonous lines of locals stepping out of the bus as if in a daze. Almost walking in step, you all get closer to the exit. As you walk down the steps, you have to protect your eyes from the sunlight. Turns out the windows of the bus were tinted. The other passengers shuffle off. Alright, next chapter. Let's continue. We're in Innsmouth now, so we can start looking for Flapjack. Finally, Innsmouth. You examine your surroundings while you stretch your legs, trying to unwind from the stressful journey. No artist could have adequately captured the serenity and beauty of this place. A clear blue sky lights up the town square, which is paved with bright limestone and surrounded by neo-colonial buildings reminiscent of 19th century New England. A fresh sea breeze, crying seagulls, and locals going about their business. In the center of the square, water trickles from a fountain. As you stretch your limbs and breathe in the clean air, you're suddenly startled by the water feature right in front of you. The fountain is an enormous, fish-like brass creature. An open jawline with shark-like fangs sprouts brackish water down its massive, inhumanly contorted body. As if that wasn't enough, there appears to be human bodies squirming underneath its massive claws. Their faces are as contorted as yours is right now. My face is kind of neutral. How long have you been standing here? Eyes wide open in shock, you feel utterly paralyzed. You start to scan the town square and notice more and more disturbing details. On every corner you spot ornamental statues and reliefs of fish. But these are not your classic harmless kind of fish. These are pagan symbols and grimaces of supernatural creatures from the dark crevices of the deep sea. So like the deep sea fish in Aquaman, or like just an anglerfish with like a little light bulb coming down in front of its face? In surrounding houses, you can see faces pressed against the windows. All the locals appear to be watching you. You suddenly start to think that the cries of the seagulls sound particularly human-like. They sound like humans crying out in pain. What happened to the idyllic scene from a few moments ago? Welcome to Innsmouth. Turn around or ignore? Ignore what? The sign or? Let's turn around, I guess, right? Maybe it's time to leave. Oh, hello.
Welcome to Innsmouth. How nice of you to visit.
A small, elderly woman waves at you from afar. She beams at you as if you're her long-lost grandchild. She seems very different to the boors you've met so far on the bus into town. Her squealing shakes you out of your nightmarish panic.
It's so good to have you here. I've noticed you're very taken by our local fountain. It was built in 1704 by Abdul Necrotis.
What a name.
Favorite artist and friend of Charles Dexter Tillinghast, the founder of Innsmouth. The central figure was a present, and it was supposed to commemorate their travels together to Cairo. You can clearly see the Egyptian influences in Necrotis' work, here and here.
She points wildly in every direction.
And here, but I'm sure you've already noticed this yourself. You look like someone who knows his way around art,
she says with a wide smile. You're still in shock. She beams at you. Who the hell are you? Of course, I'm an art historian. You know, let's play it up, yeah? Say we're visiting for art. You know, these locals seem a little weird. We don't want them to know that we're looking for Flapjack. This old lady could be the one that kidnapped her. Let's provide a cover. I'm an art historian, of course. She enthusiastically starts clapping and squealing, a small, plump person in garish costume who finishes off all her sentences with a lighted chuckle.
Oh, I noticed that at once. How rude of me. I haven't even introduced myself. My name is Muriel Pooping Place.
Pooping Place?
I'm the director of the Parks Commission, chief tourism officer, and head of the welcoming committee. Ta-da!
She's an interesting character. Pooping Place is Not a very common last name, though. Behind Muriel, there's a ramshackle wooden information stand lovingly decorated with balloons. A colorful, painted sign reads, "Welcome to Innsmouth." Muriel tiptoes over to her information stand and picks up a whole load of flyers and leaflets from the rickety display case. She looks down at all the paper in her arms and briefly shrieks with laughter.
My goodness, why don't you take the city map to begin with?
Useful! You take the map and put it into your coat pocket.
Would you like to find out more about our wonderful town, which has been awarded the East Coast Stunning Town Award for several years in a row?
Sure, why not? And would you? Actually, I'm looking for someone. Sure, why not? Hey, that's exactly what I said. Let's go. Muriel claps her hands excitedly and squeals. She begins unfolding one of her maps and points at 3 different locations in the town. The town center...
The town center here should be the next stop on your trip. There's a lively, up-and-coming shopping street in Innsmouth, and since May, our local fountain has even had real running water.
Muriel starts waving her index finger at you.
I know what you're thinking. This town is being too showy for its own good, but I can assure you, we've all kept our feet on the ground, even after the whole thing with the East Coast Stunning Town Awards.
Her finger now points to a different area on the map.
The old town of Innsmouth is completely preserved. You'd think nothing was ever done to the facades of the old house. Within 4 miles of here, you won't find any new buildings.
Interesting. So, like, haunted houses? Your face has unwillingly slipped into an expressionless mask due to sheer boredom of it all. Why not? This person's very interesting. She also has some interesting jiggle physics in her character design.
And then,
Muriel points to the coastal line on the map,
the amazing beach promenade, a dreamy beach with a bar that serves all the drinks your heart desires. I hope you brought enough stress with you, because at the beach, pure relaxation awaits you.
Man, you have this memorized, don't you? The small woman chortles.
Oh.
That's a chortle, right? Thank her or just leave? No, she's the nicest person we met. Let's thank her. Thanks ever so much, ma'am. Muriel seems delighted.
Nothing gives me more pleasure than ensuring visitors have a great time in our pretty little town. Will you be staying for a few nights? I can only recommend staying as long as you can. There's so much to see. Trust me, by the end of your stay, you won't want to leave.
That feels like foreshadow. How long are you going to stay? 1 week? Only overnight? It's a short trip. 1 week, right? That's how long arts, what did we say we were? Arts historians stay in a place? 1 week.
Oh, how wonderful! Here, take this coupon for the Gilman Hotel. Here, you'll find luxurious 19th century flair and can expect a sophisticated service. Among its guests, the hotel has counted heads of state from faraway countries, Hollywood celebrities, world-famous pop stars, as well as 2 former presidents. Just tell reception that Muriel sends you.
Muriel winks at you and hands you another colorful flyer. You've had enough now. You point at your wrist while backing away. Still so much to see, you know? Thanks again, ever so much for everything. Muriel's eyes move past you and settle on a tourist family right behind you. Seemingly at the flick of a switch, she back to her gleeful demeanor, bouncing over to the family and waving her brochures. She memorized those brochures, my god. You head further into the town, along the cobbled road in the direction of the coast. Not long ago, the sun was bright in the sky, but already the first wafts of mist are creeping into the streets. Wafts? Wafts? I don't know. The air feels thicker, and the sun can no longer penetrate the fog. Time to think about where you want to go. You slow down. You lean your briefcase against a wall and start pacing up and down the quiet alleyway. You've got an important choice to make right now. The city center is in the north. Even from afar, you can see the outlines of the old and ornately decorated buildings in the main town square. Here, you should find the police station, the main shopping street, and of course, the town hall. Alright, main town square has important stuff. Got it. As a coastal town, Innsmouth also has a harbor. From your research, you found out that this is a bustling area with a dreamy beach. You expect there to be mostly tourists. According to your research, the only hotel in town, the Gilman Hotel, is located in the old town. You think about checking in. You could do with freshening up and getting rid of that bus smell that is still clinging to your clothes. Just as you're about to set off, your heart leaps into your throat. You've forgotten your briefcase. This has never happened to you. What do you mean? We just put it down. You usually take good care of the little you possess. There's nothing you can do about this now. You'll have to wait until your return journey to find out whether someone has handed it in to Lost and Found. Still, you could swear that the briefcase was already gone when you got off the bus. What do you mean? We just put it down. It should be right there in the alleyway where we were pacing. Alright, where do we go? I decide on the city center, the hotel, or the harbor. Well, let's get checked in, you know? We don't want to get checked in at like 9 o'clock at night or whenever it is that, you know, we finally make it back there, if we're not up all night. To the Gilman Hotel, let's go. Alright, that brings us to the next chapter, and I think I'm going to end the video here. So thank you everyone again for watching, and stay tuned for more.